So after Nir, we'll have Erlinta with us. She's from Google. She's head of agency relationships. And she will talk about YouTube and what we can do with this fantastic medium.
So, hello everyone. Kalispera και από μένα. As you can imagine, it's going to be a bit difficult coming after Nir, but I'll do my best to entertain you and to keep your attention. So we're going to talk today about how you can create a successful content strategy on YouTube and how basically you can take that strategy and present it to your clients. And to do that, we first need to dive into the world of YouTube. So YouTube became 10 years old last year. We're in elementary school. We're on our way to middle school. And to understand a little bit and to remember, try to go back, this is where everything started from. This is Karim, and with two other friends of his, he was the co-founder of YouTube. And he's a millionaire now. He also changed his jacket. And this is the first video that he ever uploaded on YouTube.
All right, so here we are in front of the elephants. Cool thing about these guys is that they have really long fronts, and that's cool. And that's pretty much all there is to say.
And that was pretty much all there was to say at this point. And this is how YouTube started. How was that? Because three friends wanted to find a way to share videos with each other in an easy way. If we try to think about it, what did we do before? We used to have a video camera, we took a video, we stored it somewhere, and maybe one time when we had people over, we remembered to take out the video camera and show them the nice videos of all of our trips and all of our experiences. Even if you think about email, for example, today, it's not the easiest thing to send a video over an email. So what really changed and made YouTube really peak was, and start off really strongly, was in 2008 when smartphones did their introduction, and with iPhone. Because if you think about it, it was very, very easy suddenly for everyone to take a video and upload it and share it and send it to everyone. So YouTube basically became the way to broadcast yourself. Anyone could upload anything and share it with anyone they ever wanted. Let's watch a video that explains a little bit the mission and how the platform evolved.
It started with a simple statement: broadcast yourself. Tell us your story.
All right, so here we are in front of the elephants.
Tell us what makes you laugh. What brings you joy. Tell us what moves you.
Can you hear me?
What makes you sing. And makes you dance. Tell us what makes you think.
Stay hungry, stay foolish.
And compels you to act. We asked you to tell your story to the world. And then a funny thing happened. The world talked back.
Hey guys, long time no see.
Hello there, friends.
The world showed us its creativity, its artists and actors, its singers and songwriters, its magicians, beauticians, even mathematicians, its cooks, thieves, wives, and lovers. The world broadcast its most compelling moments. Moments of triumph and tragedy, of choice and consequence. Moments that gave voice to the oppressed, frustrated the powerful, and stirred our conscience.
So here I stand, one girl among many.
The glory of sport, the brutality of war, and the gravity of gravity. And the world shared like never before. Across countries, beyond borders, across cultures, creating trends, upending traditions, shared stories of departures, journeys, reunions, love, loss, progress.
Yeah, I'm gay.
We are YouTube. We empower the world to create, broadcast, and share.
And that's pretty much all there is to say.
So, thank you. So why do people go on YouTube? they go to explore their passions. They really spend a lot of time on the platform. They invest time on it. They really value the information that they get out of the platform, and they enjoy consuming content. So how did this all get created? So it all started from some people that uploaded content, and these are what we call the creators. They started creating small communities of fans who were following them. They were becoming slowly very, very passionate about their content. And this whole relationship evolved. It got bigger and bigger. And there was an insane amount of interaction between brands and creators. And this is what is, if you want, the unique selling point of YouTube and of internet overall, the interaction and the next step that has managed to evolve from where we were in the past. So after this whole relationship got bigger, that's when brands decided to join, and they decided that they need to be part of that story. And here's where we are today. So why would brands really care about this type of content, and why would brands want to create this type of content? This model is called the brand relationship arc, and this is something that Google created in combination with P&G and the University of Wharton. If we try to think about it, the majority of the brands that we know are towards the third part, known for something I care about. In the last year, we've seen a lot of FMCG brands trying to move one level higher to represent me by elevating more to the emotional connection. Think Dove, think Always, Like a Girl campaign, etc. But there are some brands, and not a lot of them, that have managed to go towards the top, towards defend. That consumers will actually get into a fight and defend those brands if someone talks bad about them. Can you think of any brands like that? Come on. Enna. Apple. Yeah, Apple. McDonald's. Okay, interesting, yeah. I love McDonald's, so. Google? No? No? Come on. Okay, yay. Thanks, Nir. Okay, so what we're going to look at now, with this in mind, I'm going to show you what YouTube suggests in terms of how you can make the best use of the platform and manage to engage with your brands and take it to a level higher, let's say. So many global brands have realized that they're not just talking to customers who are buying their products. They're now trying to attract audiences who are looking to hear their story. They want to know what you have to say. So we're not just competing direct against our direct competitors like we used to compete in the past. We're competing against everyone that is talking to our target audience, and an insane amount of noise. Try to think of how many messages you get exposed to per day. Emails, newsletters, social media, video, TV. Like, we are going nuts on ADD. I'm pretty sure almost everyone gets attention deficit disorder from everything that we get and all the different messages. So what we're going to look at now is how video can really help promote your brand's values and promote your brand's message and get connected in a way that will increase engagement and end up eventually into sales. So let's look at a video that shows some examples that brands globally have decided to become content creators themselves, or they have tried to leverage the ecosystem and the different creators that exist out there to make partnerships and collaborations.
Hey guys, Grace here. It's time to review something. I got this mystery box in the mail, and if there's one thing my mom's always taught me, it's open up boxes from strangers.
No idea what's in it. Uh-huh. Can we open it up? 3, 2, 1. Oh yeah.
It's a box.
It's a box.
It's a box. Oh no.
I've told them 100 times they can't dance in here.
GE actually flew us all the way to New York, which is awesome.
Can I just ask you, do you know the secret ingredient?
This is the vintage
vintage Audrey Hepburn-inspired look, and it wasn't too hard to do.
They insist on using water bowls that are too narrow for their heads, which means they cannot drink in the civilized fashion.
We're gonna drive forward, of course. No? Oh.
So, very often we get asked, thank you. You don't have to do it on every video, there's going to be a lot of them, but thank you. So, very often we get asked what kind of content really works on YouTube, and what is that magic formula? What should I create in terms of content? There's no magic formula. But what we can tell you for sure that there are some commonalities in terms of what content we can create. And what we see is that content needs to provide utility in the form of either entertainment, education, or inspiration. If your brand manages to do more than one out of these three things, then your chances of success are even higher. And this is something that we all know about. How many times have you been asked or have you been briefed by a client saying, I want to have a viral video? Pretty often. This is something that everyone wants to do. But the problem of going viral is that you need to make sure you have the right content to take advantage of all the traffic that will suddenly come into your channel. And this is a view of a channel that's one of the videos that was in this channel was in the leaderboard globally. It was a huge success, became viral. Everyone has seen it in this room, I can guarantee you. It was from some years back. And you can see there was a huge peak. It did great for them, but they didn't have anything else on their channel in terms of content to capitalize on that traffic. So the next time that they had to start from scratch. There was no consumers that they could leverage from their previous campaign. They didn't do anything with that traffic. So how do you ensure that this doesn't happen to your video content? This is the strategy that we're going to talk about today, and we're going to look at different examples. The framework is called Hero Hub Help. I'm going to talk a bit now, so bear with me. And if you have questions, please ask. So the first part is the hero. What the hero content is all about is your brand and product message. Is the main thing that your brand wants to talk about to the consumers. Your user's mindset when they're coming to YouTube is definitely not to watch your content. The last thing they're expecting is to watch your content. This is usually what we show to the consumer in the form of a pre-roll. So we want to target it massively. We want to reach as many people as possible within our target group. And it's kind of something like what we used to do in the past. All these years before, our main communication and main campaign message throughout the year. It can be more than one. In the past, we used to have 5, 6 campaigns per year. Resources are not that many nowadays, so maybe there are 2 or 3. But what matters and what you need to remember is that this is the main message of your brand. Media-wise, this, if we say from 100%, this will end up getting 70% of your budget out of the 3. Because you need to support it as much as possible. In terms of production values, this will be absolutely perfect. This will have the best production values you can possibly have. Why? Because this is the message of your brand. So you need to be perfect. You need to absolutely show yourself as you would want to show them. So moving on to Hub. Hub is actually content that is based on your consumers' passions and interests. It may or may not be directly related to your brand, your product, and your category. It may be that, for example, your brand is a sponsor of this type of content and is an enabler to bring this content to the consumer. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be directly related to the product benefit. I will give plenty of examples as we move on, I promise. So the user, when coming to YouTube, they're actually in a mindset to watch your video. Why? Because this is the kind of content that will make your user come back to YouTube for you. This is the kind of content that will make the consumer subscribe to your channel. Why? Because it is related to their interests. It's something that they're passionate about. And if the brand can offer it to them, that's perfect. Media-wise, this will take about 25% of the budget because you need to ensure you push it until you create a base of subscribers. So think you're starting from scratch in the beginning. You need to get initially some subscribers. And then afterwards, if you ensure, you get first the subscribers, so 25%. And then production-wise, this needs to be a bit one level lower than Hero, let's say. It doesn't have to be perfect because here you need to think of volume. You cannot have 3 hub campaigns over a year. This is the kind of content that needs to come as often as possible. The brands that are doing that on a global level are actually releasing 1 video per year, the ones that per week, the ones that have decided to actually seriously commit and create content. So this is a lot to do, obviously in a small country, if we think about a small country like Greece. So you need to make sure you find sustainable ways to produce as much content as possible. So moving on to help. Help is always on, and it's the kind of content that answers very specific questions that your consumers might have. Usually, behind help, what we can easily think of is how-tos. How-tos is the majority of content behind help videos. And they're actually helping your consumer on their specific question related to your product or topics around your product. Budget-wise, 5% maximum, if that. Why? Because you need to make sure when people search for that question and you provide an answer to that question, your video comes up. YouTube is the number 2 search engine globally and in Greece. So people do go directly and search on YouTube if they're asking for a question, especially when it has to do with how-to videos. So there are 2 things that are important here. One, you need to put a little bit of budget to push your videos up in the search results, and until they get some traction and they start appearing as high as possible. After that, if you have done a proper job in terms of thumbnails, descriptions, titles, meta tags, keywords, there's a whole science, if you want, behind it. It's not that difficult. You just have to make sure you look at all the different aspects of the video. Then your content can show up organically. So you don't really need much budget behind it. Production-wise, what is the user's mindset when they come to YouTube? Obviously, they're looking for specific answers to their specific questions. Budget-wise, production, obviously, you can imagine you need to go as basic as possible without going against the values of the brand. Why? Because you need to make sure you answer as many potential questions out there, cover all the possible how-tos and relevant questions that someone can have for your brand. Because other people are answering it, so you might as well give the answer yourself. Any questions before we move on? Okay. This is an old example. I'm not going to show any video, but this is a case study that we all kind of know. What a lot of people don't know about this case study is that Volvo had done a lot of work before they managed to become viral. And they've also created tons and tons of content on their channel. So their hero content was a series of epic stunts. The one with Van Damme that became viral was the 6th stunt. Before that, they had done another 5, which they analyzed as much as possible through YouTube analytics and all the different data that they could get. And they saw what works and what doesn't work and ended up creating Van Damme. So the virality didn't come magically out of nowhere. Also, after that, they had tons of content focused towards truck drivers, who's one of their target group, in their channel so that they can engage and go back again and again and subscribe. And their help content is related to their truck technology and FAQs related to their truck technology. In this one, they've ended up with 148,000 subscribers on the YouTube brand channel, and Volvo Cars, that is actually a much easier category for someone to relate to is only 48,000. So that shows you the importance and the power of content. So let's see now some examples from the different categories. They're not necessarily all related to each other. We're going to look at some hero, some hub, and some help examples. So starting off with the first hero example, this is a big hit from last year, from Barbie. I'm sure some of you might have seen it. And this is about how Barbie tried for the first time, after years and years of product message and traditional type of product message and advertisement, to elevate to a higher level, create engagement with the consumer, and try to move towards the inspirational aspect of the product.
Hello, my name is Gwyneth, and I'll be your professor today. And I will be talking about the brain.
Hi.
Hello, I'm your veterinarian today.
You're kidding.
Nope, I'm Dr. Brooklyn. See?
Okay, doctor.
Oh, here, let me see. Good morning, everyone. I'm your new coach. My name is Maddie. Nice to meet you. I had the most fantastic day in the office. You'll never believe what happened. We got that new business I wanted. Have you ever seen him fly?
Have you seen him what?
Fly?
No.
My cat can fly.
Okay.
The dog's brain can't think as much as the human's brain because there's no high school for the dog. This is Peter, the Triceratops. Peter is 1 year old. The T-Rex, Sally, is 1,002,252 years old. Knees up like a unicorn. Higher, higher. I've been to New York, Transylvania, Pennsylvania. We can think and do lots of stuff with our brain. Now, does anybody know how big the brain is? Anybody? Sophia. It is medium. Medium? Very good.
So this was a classic hero example, but much more inspirational than what we used to have in the past. Very higher level connection. Imagine the possibilities that can be, not talking directly about the product benefit, but becoming much more aspiring in terms of playing with Barbies. Now, the next example is another hero type of example from Nike. This won in the Cannes Festival last year. Nike always does that. They always try to bring the human aspect and try to look at the inspirational way behind everything. And in this specific example, they talk about the ripple effect of basically when we're young and we're looking up to famous people, specifically athletes in this case, and how this creates a ripple effect over the coming generations, and they want to become like the previous athletes, etc.
It's a 1 iron. One time running this match, he was 6 down, and now he can go 1.
Well, here he goes now. He's going to get this one. He is. Look at that. They're all going to be wearing red jumpers and Sundays now.
Season history this week. Quite remarkable.
Right, that's it. I can't even see that one.
Oh, just a couple more. Stay up.
Oh.
Yes.
Well, how's he getting on?
He's 400.
Here in sea, the weather will be up at 1/8.
How old's he on?
He's on 14.
Water coming off the bill of his head.
It's wet, isn't it?
Is it warm enough? I'm warm enough, yeah.
In golf, Tiger Woods won his 3rd Open Championship, a 2-stroke victory. Became the first back-to-back winner since 1983.
So when do you think you'll turn professional?
I'm really enjoying it at the minute. I know I have to keep working hard to keep getting better and better.
On the first tee, Tiger Woods. From
Northern Ireland, Rory McIlroy.
Good shot there, man.
This next example is a different type of hero content because it shows basically an experience transferred from offline to online. This is a gun shop, a real gun shop that opened in New York City. This campaign was done by States United, and their objective was to prevent gun violence. So they opened this real gun shop where people could go in, and basically through a hidden camera, they tried to debunk safety myths around owning a gun. Let's watch it.
It's not live. So the door comes in.
Oh, hey, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
Hey.
Hi.
You're interested in a gun, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay, cool. You looking for something for target practice or?
Protection?
More for just protection.
Just safety. I'm pro Second Amendment, so it's like, it's kind of hard to find that around in New York City, It's
like I was showing your wife, the first gun I showed her was this revolver. It's the easiest gun we have to use. It's, it's our most popular one. It's a 22 caliber 6-inch revolver. It's also a gun that a 5-year-old found in his parents' bedroom, went down and shot his 9-month-old baby brother with it.
When it says shooter, 5-year-old kid, dead one, what does that mean?
That's the history.
This is the gun that the guy
That's
shot.
the gun.
This is the one? This is the one that the kid used? Holy shit.
Can't take this shit back after you do it.
This is a 9mm semi-automatic. It's a very handy gun. It's easy to use. Carry it in a purse like that gal from the Walmart. 2-year-old son reaches into her pocketbook, pulls it out, shoots her. Dead, gone, no mom. Collectors love this one. Adam Lanza's mom had this in her collection too. Till he took this and several other guns and killed her. Then went down to Sandy Hook, killed 6 teachers and 20 innocent children. 20 little kids, gone, like that. He walked into a McDonald's in San Diego, killed 21 and injured 19. It's one of the deadliest mass shootings in American history. They thought, ironically, that they were protecting their 9-month-old. She thought she was protecting her 2-year-old. 9mm semi-automatic, 40 caliber compact, 45 caliber, 9mm submachine gun, 12 gauge pump action shotgun. Why don't you have a closer look?
I was pretty blindsided by just the entire history of every gun in the store.
And it made me actually think, I'm not gonna buy that gun.
It made me think twice, and I would not buy one.
It is one of our rights, but my opinion has definitely changed. I don't feel safe with the gun.
You don't want to be the Walmart case.
Okay, and our last hero example, it's a very successful YouTube collaboration that Purina did together with BuzzFeed. BuzzFeed is a content creator on YouTube. They create tons and tons of video. And they also used, for the specific one, Frank, who's a famous voice on animals videos on YouTube. If you have seen animals videos, you probably have heard him. And you'll probably recognize him as well. So this type of hero content has had a completely different aspect. It was storytelling from the cat's point of view. And it had more than 9 million views, but most tons of likes and shares, etc. But the most impressive stat on this one is that this specific video managed to gain them more than 6,000 subscribers to their channel, just because of this type of content. They liked it so much that they ended up doing more episodes after that, and they created a whole hub series as a next level to this campaign, which we will watch one episode afterwards.
Despite being huge and having the ability to open canned goods, humans are frail in both body and mind, and we must care for them. Perhaps from ennui or malaise, humans often stare at random inanimate objects for hours at a time. Your duty is to break this spell, to remind them that there is life out there to live. Perhaps the worst offender of these objects is the light box. You must remind them that boxes don't need light. You just need the light of your imagination. See what I did there? Look, I'm an astronaut now. And now I'm a rocket ship, and the box is the astronaut. I just blew your mind. They insist on using water bowls that are too narrow for their heads, which means they cannot drink in the civilized fashion, with your face and your tongue. Speaking of tongues, humans don't seem to use theirs for anything. You must lick them every morning and remind them that a tongue is a terrible thing to waste. I have no clue how they keep clean. Besides that cute little tuft on their heads, humans are, for the most part, sadly, hairless. During the day, they cover themselves with little body blankets. You must donate your fur to these articles whenever possible. Each night, you must curl up on their faces, or they will freeze to death. For all of this, we only ask the occasional help opening cans and a clean place to do our kitty business. But even here, they need help too. They're constantly bringing in these giant bags they can barely carry. Remind them there is an alternative. All the strength, half the weight. Clever human.
So the next version, so the hub videos that they created after that, they did all of them again with BuzzFeed. And the good thing about that is that they leveraged all the free organic traffic that they could get through these creators. And that's the biggest benefit of using YouTube creators. First, it doesn't cost you that much money in terms of production. They help with the production. And at the same time, it gains a lot of organic reach, as these people have tons and tons of followers that anyway follow them, so you can benefit from that. This episode that I'm going to put now, which is one of the next steps, I'm only going to share it because it ended up having 25 million views, even more than the original hero content that they promoted. So you can imagine how successful this campaign ended up being.
Dear Kitten, since I have hissed at you the customary 437 times, it is now my duty as the head of the household to begrudgingly welcome you. Perhaps you are here to replace me, but I must do my duty and educate you on your new surroundings, as Maximilian once did for me. Rest in peace. Dear Kitten, this room here is basically a crapshoot. Either you get the petting of your life, and I'm in two hands, like you don't even know what's going on, or they just lie there and don't do anything. For hours, it's weird. Oh, and I should also point out, on special occasions, they will leave the underwear drawer open to signal their appreciation of me. Just to be clear, it's my spot. It's perfect in there. It's like sleeping surrounded by underwear. Well, I mean, that's exactly what it is. Dear Kitten, I remember when I could fit in a shoe. There's nothing like it. Being engulfed in 360 degrees of foot smell. Enjoy it while you can. Dear Kitten, because you are so small, you cannot jump, which is sad. Sad for you. But eventually you will. And you will find the places that I refer to as up. This will come in handy, especially around the human larva, which I know smells like milk, but can be a bit grabby. Dear Kitten, you should be aware that there are two kinds of food. The first is sort of a dehydrated brown niblet. I think they gave us these because they're training us to be astronauts. Just a guess. The second kind is wet food. It is so special they keep it in little armored metal casings that no claw can penetrate. With no claws to speak of, the humans can somehow open them. It's like some dark magic. Dear Kitten, I should warn you of the monster known as vacuum. It can eat and yell at the same time, and I've seen it eat everything. Seriously, like a paperclip and 2 cat toys. Didn't even flinch. To hide from vacuum, you may use the curtains of invisibility. Oh yeah, you're good. Good hiding. Oh boy. Dear kitten, one final note. Once in a while you might see a little red dot. I'm going to tell you this right now. It is real, and it can be caught. I did it once. I held it for a full minute, but when I lifted my paws, it was gone. So kitten, welcome to the household. You'll do just fine.
If you liked it, I recommend you go and watch the rest. They're really fun. They even did a Super Bowl one, making fun of how Americans act during the Super Bowl. So the next example, hub example content. This is a branded content series from Stella Artois from a couple of years ago. This was a global campaign that was aimed at shining the spotlight on men and women that managed to make these kind of events extraordinary. World events like Wimbledon, etc. This was one of the events that the beer was sponsoring at the time. The specific one that we're going to watch now, it has more than 1.9 million views. It's about Rufus the hawk, who was the official bird scarer of the tournament.
Well, our friends are back. Leave me alone. This is where I live when you're not here. Finally up to the roof. No, he's coming back.
Hello, pigeons. My name is Rufus. I'm not like you. I'm a bird of prey. A finely tuned flying machine. My bosses are very particular. They chose me for a reason. I've been a member of Wimbledon security for 14 years. I wake up at 5 a.m. every day to patrol the grounds. I'm faster than you. Stronger than you. I am an athlete. Do you call that flying? This is flying. I train harder than you. I weigh 1 pound 6 ounces, the perfect flying weight. I have nothing against pigeons. I'm a professional. I don't mind what you do, as long as you don't do it on my turf. You've been warned. I am Rufus.
The next example, and our last hub example, is a completely different type of example. It's again a collaboration that Turkish Airlines did with 10 top YouTube creators around the world, where basically they flew them into different secret destinations, exciting destinations, and they let them create a video sharing their experiences, but in completely their own style and their own way. And this is the most important thing out of this campaign. They didn't try to change the YouTubers. They picked the YouTubers that fit their brand values and fit the way Turkish Airlines wanted to be positioned to the world. So this was very successful from both standpoints. One, because it still kept Turkish Airlines brand values in terms of new experiences, etc. But at the same time, it also kept YouTubers in their own style and in their own unique way. Each video had about 1 million views. And the one that we're going to watch now is from Devin Supertramp, who's a very big creator on YouTube. Today, he has 4 million subscribers. video that we're going to look at today is a combination of Hub and Help, and it's a collaboration again of the sauce Lee and parents with Sorted Food, the YouTube creators. Sorted Food is a group of 4 friends. They just started cooking and having fun at the same time. They really are one of the successful ones on YouTube. They have more than 1.4 million subscribers. And for this collaboration, they ended up creating 10 help videos that were promoted also as Hub, i.e. they were pushed media-wise. But because they were around recipes, which recipes are a kind of given how-to, they can also work as help as well. We're going to watch the trailer and extra content that they created for this series.
Join us, the Sorted Food guys, as we explore the mystery behind the secret ingredient that is Lee & Perrins Worcestershire sauce.
We've taken the sauce and put it into loads of recipes, from spag bowl and shepherd's pie to sausage casserole and sticky ribs, plus the ultimate cheese on toast.
That's fantastic.
Good cheese on toast.
We even got the chance to explore the factory and find out how the sauce gets made.
So this is where we mature all of the ingredients for the parents. So we've got anchovy, garlic and onions down here. The secret ingredient, is that upstairs? Well, we've got the bottling upstairs, and we've got where we actually mix the ingredients together upstairs, which I can show you. As for the secret ingredient, it's unlikely that you're going to see that. Really?
Yeah, sorry.
Can I just ask you, do you know the secret ingredient?
I just want you to sort of speculate any ideas of what you think may be in it.
God, trees.
Trees?
Trees.
That really was helpful. Cheers, you've enlightened me, thank you.
How do you like your eggs in the morning?
Baked with a shot of Lee & Perrins and a Bloody Mary, of course.
You're supposed to sing that.
I'm not going to sing.
Beef lasagna!
Caesar salad.
Yeah.
Julius?
No, nothing to do with that, man. And if you want any of these recipes inspired by Lee & Perrins, then click here.
You haven't clicked.
I'm still smiling awkwardly.
It's fine.
I'm not going to play the last video because I'm sure we're going to start getting very, very hungry. But this is one of the help videos that they created. I think the previous was enough to get us hungry. So before I close off the framework, I want to leave you with something, a last thing in regards to help and how powerful it is. And I apologize in advance for those of you who have heard me before explaining this framework, because I always use this example. But it's a very powerful example, and I think it's worth sharing. It shows how important the help content is in terms of driving consideration and eventually turning that into sales. 1.5 years ago, we had a colleague from Israel that visited us in the Greek office, and she was telling us this story, trying to showcase the importance of mobile sites at this point of time. But it also works for help content. So she had just come back from maternity leave, and she was at home one night, so the baby was crying, wouldn't stop crying, and she had the baby on her shoulder on the one hand, and here in her hand, she was holding, in her free hand, she was holding the smartphone. Try to think her trying to zoom in if the site wasn't mobile. That was my side note. Moving back to the help content. So she was Googling some information, and she found an article that was from Pampers, and she thought it was relevant. Keep in mind that in Israel, Pampers is the #2 brand in terms of diapers. Huggies is the leading brand. So she read the article, she found it helpful. The next day she went again on the site, because this thing also works for sites, right? It doesn't only work for YouTube, this framework. It's a type of content that also works on sites. So she went on the site again, she got extra information, she read other articles that she found useful. The next time that she was in the supermarket, she stood in front of the shelf, and for the first time she picked Pampers to try it. She thought, I might as well try it. They helped me so much at a point of time where I needed them. She tried the product worked as well. Second moment of truth was great, so she never went back to Huggies. Point of the story, when consumers need an answer and you give it to them, they are much more likely to bond with the brand and end up turning that into consideration in terms of buying the brand than any other time. And again, try to remember, they will get those answers anyway from some user, some other brand. Try to give it to them. And I'm not playing it, I told you. And the last part, what this all means for your marketing plan before we close. So if we look at all this content over the period of a year, the big peaks would be your hero content, as I said before. These are your big campaigns, the message of your brand, the one that you want to push the most media-wise. The curves, the red curves, are your hub content. It needs to come much more often than the hero content. It is related to your consumers' passions and interests. It is pushed as well, as a reminder, just to get a subscription base. One example that you can use here, one method that you can use here is you can push your hero content, and to the people that ended up engaging with your hero content, you can create a remarketing list and then show them your hub content. So your hub content immediately doesn't need as much budget in terms of where you're going to push it. So the waves are your hub content. Try to think you will need definitely more than one hub ideas over the period of a year. There's no way you will be able to release content that often with the exact same idea. So we see that brands usually do 5, 6, maybe even 7 type of hub ideas over the period of a year. And the last one, the gray line, this is your help content, which basically is always on, as we said before, because you cannot control when consumer will have the need to look for that information. So you need to make sure you're there when they do. So putting all of this together, yes, it is very resource intensive, but it is the kind of content that can actually create this type of engagement with the consumer that can move a brand up to the relationship arc and really take it to the next level. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you very much. Questions? Erotisis?
To explain the hub part a bit. Okay, so the hub is related to your consumer's interest. So what does that mean? For example, a brand like Amex, American Express, credit cards, right? And banks. What can they do in terms of content? They have identified all the relevant different types of interests that their consumers and their loyal consumers might have. Is that music? They watch a lot of music on YouTube because music is a big topic on YouTube. It might be recipes related, it might be do-it-yourself type of thing, it might be different categories. So they create a whole a dedicated content behind Unstage. Unstage is a festival where they bring famous musicians together with famous directors, and they try to create content specifically for the subscribers on YouTube. It's not directly related to the brand message, but it's relevant to the insights of the consumers. There are categories, though, that you can manage to bring these two together. For example, Lacta, a brand of our own. The Kane to Vima Sira from last year could be considered as hero and hub content at the same time. Why? Because Lacta has managed to integrate the product and the brand benefit within everything that they do. So it's kind of like a weird scenario. But their show was actually in the episodic type of content, and it could be considered a hub content.